So Mary, we're ignoring you just like we would normally ignore people, and she gets it. We're talking about black haircut. I'm going gray. She's an experienced senior, but still looks good. And then we have this stranger, Mary Kennedy.
Yes.
She.
Yes. No. Yes.
I'm
no.
Mary.
Hi. How are you? Sorry, my
background.
Zoom is always interesting. So I'm here.
Love background.
Isn't that fun? The pink and the shirt, famously funny female, of course.
Love
Actually,
it.
I do like that.
Only the best.
Here's what I do. I'm going to start off with you guys. All right. So Tracy, really, Roxy, tell us who you are, where you come from.
I'm Roxy Astor, one of the Park Avenue Knockouts from Glow. We're not going real names here, are we? Yeah, from Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, back in the 80s. So, and I'm here.
And then down below, one of your new friends. Who are you? Where'd you come from?
I am Mary Kennedy. I'm originally from the suburbs of Boston. And I am one of Roxy's good friends, business partner. And I was new Fiona on Shameless season 7 for 6 episodes.
Yay.
And wouldn't you know it,
Yes.
I'm on Shameless season 7, episode 5 right now.
So you've seen me.
I told them to watch it.
Yeah. So you've seen me in my bra. Yes, you have. That's me. I'm William H. Macy, aka Frank's new daughter. So
The new
I'm an out of work prostitute. What?
The new Gallagher's family.
Yeah, the new Gallagher family. I'm new Fiona. I look so much like Emmy Rossum. Don't you see it? Anyway.
Exactly.
Hey, all right, so Sarah Mary, since you've been chiming in as that actress and that comedian, talk about what have you been doing? What's been going on with everything also?
During the COVID or before COVID?
Before, during, and like right up to now, to the end of the year.
Yeah, so I was really lucky to be cast in Afterglow, the 80s musical experience as Jackie Stallone, which Roxy created. And right now, I've been nominated for Best Actress in that show because I played Jackie Stallone. And it's also being nominated for 7 Broadway World Awards for regional theater. So Roxy's up for Best Costumes. We're up for Best Ensemble. So that's
decade.
Of the decade, excuse me, of the decade, pardon me, yes,
Come
of
on,
the decade.
Now, get your nominations and your awards straight.
I'm just happy to be nominated for anything, like maybe a free, maybe a free Kit Kat, I don't know. I'm just happy that I was nominated for anything. But yeah, no, we did that show 2 years ago, and Roxy and I have been working together on some projects. So it's been a joy. I was a huge fan of Roxy growing up as a kid when I would watch her on Saturday morning, watch the Gorgeous Ladies Wrestling. So it's been a dream. So that's what I'm working on.
And Roxy, talk about this nomination because it goes back a long way. It kind of, you and I go back now to
we go back a long way. You were my interviewer for the very first Afterglow fan party, and you got some great interviews of some of the girls backstage. And that was the first Afterglow event, and Brian Sebastian was there.
That was actually fun. That was actually an honor to meet everybody.
Yeah.
And after that, and one of the best books still to this day.
Oh yeah, that's where you met Matilda, and then I met you, and I bought you some pie, and I gave you the book for that.
What are you laughing at, Mary? If to get the good side, you got to give me an apple pie.
Yeah, well,
apple pie.
I didn't get any pie. What about me?
No, you're already nominated.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I have to say though, Brian, I met Mary though at the Vagina Monologues where we were on stage, and I was actually a fan of hers too from Shameless. So I think we were both kind of fanning out a little bit because I was telling Sunny, oh, there's Mary Kennedy from Shameless. And then Sunny's running over, and then Eileen's running over. That's Mary Kennedy from Shameless. So we were all running, and then we were going, oh, look at that girl. And then we were just sitting there, and then everybody started going, there's the Glow Girls. And we're like, because that was what, 30 something years ago? So we really had no clue that anybody even knew who we were. I just knew I had a few lines to read. I had to finish that sentence. I had a few lines to read. I was thinking about that. And Mary, you had a long monologue, and I was just, I don't know. That's why I don't want to be an actress.
Well,
Me either.
that had been my fifth vagina monologue show, my fifth year that I did it. And Sheena Metal, who played Aunt Kitty in Afterglow the musical, 80s musical experience, who she's also up for best performer. She actually had the show and she introduced us all, which was really amazing. It was so empowering. And, you know,
Well, I talked Sheena into doing it, and I talked Mary into doing it, but I don't think it took too much talking you into it, did it? It was like, no, to be
to play
Jackie.
Jackie Stallone. Come on.
And
it was so
yeah,
fun.
She got the wig and the hair and the headband. That was it. She was Jackie Stallone, like all over. The attitude.
I could
don't
see
think
you doing that with the attitude and everything also.
Yeah. Jackie, remember, I knew her back in the 80s. She was my manager, the Good Girls manager. So I actually knew Jackie's and I knew how she was. So Mary just kind of like something, you know, just turned into Jackie Stallone. And, you know, now she's nominated. Her and Aunt Kitty, Sheena Metal, the Good Girls, Bad Girls are nominated for Performers of the Decade. We're saying decade.
Yeah, but
Could you imagine, Roxy, could you imagine this going back to 5 years ago, even hearing something like this? This is before, I think you got a hint that they were going to do the Glow Girls for Netflix. I think they were maybe just started little whispers here and there. Could you imagine that?
Right.
Where that's only 5 years ago to where you are right now, seeing all of this develop.
Okay, the funny thing is, Mary told me about the nomination maybe like 3 weeks ago, and I couldn't imagine it back then. And I said, "What are you talking about?" So she goes, "No, you're nominated for Best Costumer," and I'm like, because I didn't get nominated the first time. I was Best Performer, and Matilda and I, we actually laughed because we were like, we got nominated for Best Performer. We were like just being ourselves, and I think we screwed up a few lines. So I think we screwed up a lot. And somebody was taking my line, I was taking their line. So yeah, not Best Performer. We were just ourselves, and I think, you know, I didn't know really the whole thing because, you know, how big it is until I asked Mary, because I know she's done some plays, and she goes, "This is big. You were nominated for Best Costumer of the Decade." And so I looked, and she has me obsessed now. I look every day like I'm doing stocks, and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, go baby, go baby. And then I look, and above me is the play from the Hollywood Pantages, Hamilton. If I can sit underneath Hamilton, I'll sit underneath them all day long.
That sounds dirty.
Well, as you would know, you're a good marketer. It's one of those things, you use it for marketing. I mean, it's great.
Yes. I want to stay there. That's where I want to be. But I think the most important nomination we got, and we're up there. I don't want to jinx it. We're up there.
We're number one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Best ensemble.
Ensemble. And that is the whole cast, which is, you know, the Glow Girls and Justin Root and Nick Hodges and help me out, Mary.
Charlene Ward, Jasmine Fontes. Oh my gosh, Nick Hodges.
Wait, we forgot about Dan.
Dan Magnus,
You
your
wanted to
partner,
Dan?
is up for Best Choreographer, who taught us how to fight.
And talk about this for those people, the audience that doesn't know who Dan was and what he's created afterwards. Talk about that.
Go ahead. You're very close to him. Go.
Yeah. Dan was a two-time world kickbox champion back in the, I think around the time I was in Glow. And he came back after open heart surgery and won like a year later when they told him that he would never fight again. So they called him Dan the Bionic Man Magnus. And so that's kind of followed him, you know, to this day. And who he is now, I forced him into choreography. Am I saying it right? How
Choreography.
About girls? Yeah, you said Peach and the girls had a wrestle. And I said, Dan, can you please do this? And he said, no. You know how he is, a man of few words. And no, finally it was like, Dan, please, please. I don't want to do it because I was going to do it. And Dan just took over. He showed up the whole time for every rehearsal. But the thing is, we didn't know he was in a heart failure at the time. And we all kind of saw, and he was doing moves with Mary, like, you guys, you were slapping him. Don't feel bad. You were slapping him. He took
I did, you know,
a bump. He did moves with the girls, and it's like he just like pushed through. So the fact that he's nominated, and I think he might be in third place, I think he should be number one.
yeah, I agree.
Because he taught these women how to wrestle in a 4x4 wrestling ring.
Wow. That's not easy. Wow. You know, I think because I always looked at it like this. Dan is like the sidekick of what you were always putting on. And then he was always being there. And he was truly a man of few words.
Yeah.
And down inside, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll teach him how to do it. I got nothing else to do. And then he gets into the ring and everything comes back into motion.
Oh, he changes. Like, he can be very quiet in the moment. And Mary, you know this because he's personal trained you, and he was also teaching her in the play. He just turns into something else. It's like he's just so focused on that, and he doesn't break from that. And he's very professional when it comes to it. And then he just kind of walks away and then lets me go do my thing, and then walks away and then just lets me do my thing. So I think so. Sidekick, or yeah, I would have to say a sidekick.
Yeah, but very supportive too. That's hard.
Very. I'm not easy to live with.
Really?
Well, one day I'll get your daughter out here and ask her.
No, she won't come in.
I have a way of persuading people.
But you know what? I like to get stuff done, and it's hard for people to keep up with my pace. And there's going to be a day where I will not have this pace. So I'm going to take advantage of anything, or not anybody, but anything or opportunity I can, and do it right now. I mean, we're not getting any younger. That's what we were talking about, Brian.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't go there. Okay, we're not talking age.
Hey, Mary, talk about this. I always want to know this because I was there when Shameless first started at the Television Critics Association. And then I'm like, I got to the first 2 seasons, and then I went on to other things. And I'm like, I could go back to it. It took me this year to go back to it because I'm like, I was almost done with everything that I was watching. And then I just needed something just to take my mind away from, because since April 2nd, I've done 230 Zoom shows. Not
wow, that's amazing.
And TV shows. I didn't count the TV shows with that. And then we did 8 of those shows in studio.
Great.
Everybody Snowed Out, because we got our own little private studio in Hollywood, which is great. So it's been one of my favorite shows to watch. And I was like, I never knew that was going to happen. How did you get cast for this? What was the audition like? And then I always needed to know this. Do they say, is nudity, bisexual, whatever, is that required? I always wanted to know that.
Oh, this is every interview I do, they ask. So, okay, so I'll tell you kind of what happened. So I, through this casting office, I had booked a recurring role on ER as a cop back in the early, I would say 2005, 2006. Flash forward, this role came down as new Fiona on Shameless. They were doing like what the UK show did of the same name that it was based on, where, basically Frank, William H. Macy, was basically sent out of the family. He was excommunicated from the Gallagher family because he screwed up Fiona, Emmy Rossum's wedding, right? So they threw him in the East River. That was the end of, sorry, spoiler alert, the end of season 6. And then he's in a homeless shelter and he finds his new family. And I'm an out-of-work prostitute who works for food, and I became new Fiona. The audition process was, my agent got an audition breakdown and they said, we're looking for prostitutes who really let themselves go. And so I'm from Boston. And so, they have the combat zone in Boston where the prostitutes hang out by. And I went to college in Boston. So I saw these ladies. And so I was like, this girl is not primping up. She's not. So I came in and I looked like a Boston prostitute. And the director of the episode, who's now one of the directors of production, Ian McDonald, said to me, he goes, as soon as you walked in the room, I knew it was you. Now, the thing is that there was nudity. I did have to sign a release saying you need to understand that there is nudity. I had to say yes. And a lot of women who auditioned for it said yes to the writer. And then when they got in the room and auditioned in front of everybody, because I went to network and to the director, because I had booked a show before, the ladies didn't want to do the nudity. So when they asked me, are you okay with nudity? I was like, sure. And so I ended up booking it. And yeah, I had 2 little scenes with some nudity. And to be honest with you, I am not the type of actress that does nudity just whatever. Like, it has to be a good director, it has to be a good show. And this was a role of a lifetime. And so I took it. And my husband was a little like, I don't know if I want the world to see your booty. But when he looked at how much I was getting paid, he was like, go ahead, do God's work. And so I did it. And, you know, it was an incredible experience. Six episodes. I shot in Chicago for 2 weeks. Emmy Rossum directed me. Chris Chulak directed me. You know, all of these amazing directors. I got to, you know, William H. Macy was my father, Daddy Frank. He welcomed me on set with open arms, and he gave me a standing ovation after I wrapped my 2 nude scenes. So it's a dream. But, you know,
Well, we like William. William is one of the iconic actors out there before
amazing.
even doing Shameless, because I would have many times that I would get together with him at a CBS party, and just like Dan with Roxy, he would be supporting his wife.
Listen,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's my memory of Bill. Bill and I would be just sitting there talking, having some drinks, as his wife is doing press for her show, which was, what was it, Nurse, whatever it was on Showtime at that point.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was great
and
to see that, because
yeah,
guys can't do that. They don't know how to support their significant others.
right.
So anytime I see Bill, this is my memory. He and I standing there watching his wife doing press, and I'm looking at him. I was like, "Do you miss doing this?" As we're having drinks, he goes, "No, this is her time to shine." So I admire him, and that's why I love the show Shameless, and I love the Showtime people, because the press people are really, really good. So I'm not surprised that you 2 got together on this, because that just makes total sense to me now.
Yeah. I think Mary's husband too is the same way though, like Dan. He sits back and is very supportive of Mary, because Mary is like nonstop going. I can't keep up with her on Facebook with this show and that show, and she's got so many comedy shows going on. And so Charles is the same way. He sits back and supports. But Mary's got 2 kids, which to me, it's got to be a lot harder. And she's got a lot going on. But like, even with this interview, yep, I'm in. Yep, I'm in. And that's, I think, Mary, she might even surpass me a little bit of the energy. I don't know how she does what she does. So, Mary.
Thank you. You too. No, listen, it was such a joy. It was a role of a lifetime. You know, they're in their last season. So many people have asked me, are you going back? You know, I haven't got the call. I don't expect it. Like, you know, like I was part of a really funny arc, and the arc ended, but I will always remember that show. And I'll always remember Bill Macy putting his hand on my shoulder in the makeup chair and go, welcome to the Shameless family. I mean, it was amazing. It was one of the best sets. That and Conan, 2 of the best sets I've worked on. They're incredible. And
well,
you know what?
You can tell they truly are a family, because no matter who comes in, and I had no idea I would be on the segments that you're in. I just happen to be in that segment. As I'm watching season 11 that no one has seen yet, they haven't seen the 2nd episode of season 11, but I've seen it. And it's really interesting, because you know what it's like to shoot in Chicago. I think was it during the winters or was it the summer that you were there?
I shot in the summer, which was beautiful. It was like the 2nd time I'd been to Chicago. I fell in love with that city. And then we shot in the quote winter, but it was October and they were having a heat wave. And so it was like around Halloween, and it was like 70 degrees. So they had to shoot as if it was winter. And it was, but
the whole thing on that, now, you know, Roxy, now they're shooting, and this is why I like it, because it's up to date. They're shooting with their mask on. So you know what it's like to be in that set with the crew and the actors and the actresses there. Imagine Ian and William Macy. William, and I'm not giving anything away because people will see it, he's sort of like the anti-mask type of guy. And he's still Frank doing what he's doing. But it's interesting. Now he's got his bandana on, and now he's like gentrification. It's kind of funny how everything's going, because it's, you know, Roxy, different from how you've been improving and taking the Glow franchise to where it needs to be, because you're like that Frank of keeping everything going.
Right. And we had our cruise that was supposed to happen in April, and Mary was going to headline for comedy on the fourth Afterglow cruise. And even before, I think it was before maybe a couple weeks, we started seeing things going on. I was talking to Debbie, who's Dallas from Glow. And I go, I think I have to move this. And Mary's like, I'll do whatever you want. But then it's kind of like, I don't want to have like the Afterglow with the name that, okay, we go through this no matter what. We didn't know the outcome of what was going to happen, months ahead, but I was already going to move it because it just didn't feel right. And I didn't want like the Afterglow or anybody getting sick or it being, it just didn't feel right. So, and it ended up being where, everything was canceled and there's been no cruise ship. So that would have been my fourth cruise. And like I said, Mary was going to headline the comedy. And it's just, you look back and there hasn't been any cruises, any vacations or, anything. And, but with the Afterglow, you got to still keep going because the moment you stop talking about it, the moment you stop, people will move on to the next thing. So
Absolutely.
I just want to put that, and when I say Afterglow, it's us, it's Afterglow. We did Glow. We're not Glow Netflix. We are Afterglow. And, we have Sunny, got Matilda. I do FaceTimes with her twice a week to keep her spirits up because I haven't seen her since March. So we finally got it to where we could talk to Matilda and find out what's going on. And I get her to laugh and she still got that Matilda laugh. And, so we're all still trying to be supportive of each other. Well, not all of us. I can't say all of us. There are some of us Glow Girls that are trying to be supportive, and we are. So it's even through the tough times.
And Mary,
Yeah.
what was it like for you as you were locked down with your husband and with the two kids? Did you have to become a teacher also?
Yeah, I mean, I also run Youth Acting Biz and the Biz Studio, which is professional acting training for kids and adults. So I've been teaching. I'm so wiped out after teaching other people's children that it's my husband's job. And then I criticize him. I go, no, that's not the way. Don't you know that that's a proper noun? Anyway, but it's just been, and I'm babysitting our dog. I'm sorry you're hearing him. It's just he's freaking out that his father's gone because I sent my husband out to do errands because I'm the only one that goes out to do errands. So it's like, it's been an interesting thing. I mean, I got to be honest. I was on the road a lot. I was on the road a lot before this happened as a comic. As a performance artist, I had my one-woman show, Midlife Mood Swing, that was going on tour. So I had a lot of stuff. And the cruise was the first gig in a very long time that I was able to bring my home family. And so I was really looking forward to that. My kids would be able to be on the road with me on a boat. But we've gotten closer as a family. Like my kids really were missing me because I was gone a lot. That's the truth. And so now I feel like I've really connected with them. My daughter started virtual high school. I think it's really important that I was with her this year. She's a straight A student. She's doing amazing. My son is in a magnet program for science and math. He's doing well. It's been nice to be able to sit and watch them do that. But I'm more busy than I've ever been. And I'm grateful because I know so many people are struggling. People are wanting the arts. They're wanting classes. They're wanting comedy. You talked about all the shows you're doing, which is amazing. I've done about 120 Zoom comedy shows and I headlined Flappers on Friday night via Zoom.
Via Zoom for Flappers?
Via Zoom. Yeah.
Interesting. How's that work?
Well, it's like this. And people buy tickets and we had about probably 25, 30 people in the audience. Mm-hmm. And they spotlight me and I did like 30 to 40 minutes of material and it was really fun.
Can I tell you from my point of view, since I was an actual person in the audience for Mary's show, I had like a lot going on and I didn't have my camera on, but I was able to watch her and she had a mic in her hand, which made it seem like that much more of a show. Because normally I've seen Zoom comedy shows, and then with that mic, that reason, that helped. Just that little prop, it helped, and it made you feel like you were in a comedy show. But you don't have to have the camera on you. But you got to unmute, and they will call you out if you don't unmute.
Because I need to hear your laughter.
I'm thinking, don't call Roxy, don't call Roxy. And all of a sudden I'm looking, they didn't call me, but I didn't unmute it. So then I snuck my finger in there and I muted it, but I didn't get called out. So, phew. But
You know why I was asking?
Good show.
Because I was talking to Sinbad. He went to Arizona, and he was freaked out because he likes to engage with everything. He goes, Ryan, nobody was wearing masks, and I usually like to associate with everybody and be around everybody. I got back in my car, and immediately I was so uncomfortable that he drove back to California. And then he did one more time in Indianapolis. And I said, well, you went to red states, first of all. They don't believe in most of the stuff that's going on. And it was interesting because that told me a little bit of what he was going through, just wanting to get back out, being that comic. You're used to that live audience and getting that feedback. And that was it. Sort of like the wrestlers, as you would know, Roxy, when it comes to that, that's funny to see the photos of people there before they started putting everybody on Zoom.
Oh, I can't stand it. Oh, how they have we watch, because Dan watches the WWE. And
Yeah,
first,
we do
there
too.
were photos in for some of the baseball games or something. And then they had the actual, okay, get out there, somebody. They had the people, the videos in the back of so it looked like, it was an audience. And I'm liking that better than just having the ring and having like a few of the people from NXT just standing by and rooting them on. It was way too quiet. The moment that they had that, and I noticed they were fitting more people in, is the better the show's got. Because when and Mary, you can agree, when you're on stage, like even when I was wrestling, I feed off the audience. If I'm just playing to dead space, it's really hard. So I got to give it to them for WWE for just being able to do that, because you take a bump and there's no yay, there's nothing. It's just, it's quiet. So it's weird how it evolved from just having nothing to a few people backstage to that, and it made it actually watchable, because I'm going, this is going to be shut down, this is not going to happen. But
Right.
But even like for comedy, right, it's like, don't you feed off an audience?
I feed off an audience, and to be honest, but it's also forced me to get my TV set ready. Because if you've seen me on stage, which you had several times, I did do some crowd work. And now I can't depend on my crowd work. I got to depend on the jokes. So if you notice from my set, it was all new stuff.
Yes.
That set is going to a network actually for consideration. And it's really helped me with my TV set. And, I, as a comic, because I'm an actor who is a trained actor, a lot of comics out there aren't trained actors. I know how to play with the camera and do certain, facial reactions and things like that. So in a way, it's helped me become a better comic, but and I never thought I would say this, because when I'm on the road and I have to meet people and do photo ops now because of Shameless, that makes me so nervous. The other stuff, going on stage, I could do that with my eyes closed. Meeting people and having a conversation with people I don't know is freaky. So, I like to go, all right, see you later, and I'm out. Like, I got why Sinbad felt uncomfortable. And, now
that's exactly what he did.
Yep.
He felt guilty, but he was thinking of his granddaughter, granddaughter back home in California. That's why, and he drove by himself.
Yeah. And I just,
Wow.
so, and listen, and I joke about this on stage. I feel like the clubs have been very great when I've headlined with their sort of security staff and things like that. It's not like I'm not Emmy Rossum. And what's really fun is when people come and see me and they think I'm Emmy Rossum and they go, oh, you're not the Fiona. I go, no, I'm the new Fiona. But what's been interesting is I have a lot of weirdo followers now because of my work on Shameless. Like a lot of, I have prisoners who follow me. I have widows and divorcees. I get a lot of men stuff on Instagram, men, in quotes, stalking me. And I have had to get rid of a lot of people and block a lot of people because they think the character that I play on the show is the character that I am in real life, and so that's been an interesting side effect. See, my dog agrees. Sorry, guys.
So Roxy, we got about 6 minutes. Talk about what was it like not to be as that hairstylist who's been cutting hair and doing things like that. What was that like for you when you couldn't get with people to help them out. They look beautiful.
Well, I mean, I was busy up until that point, and like doing all this afterglow stuff. I love to do hair because to me, it's an outlet, and it helps me. It's artistic, and it's just another way, another outlet. And then to totally not be able to do anything, I downloaded a couple stupid little games like Bubble Pop or whatever, just so I could keep my mind going. Just
How long
very
did
like
that last? 5 minutes?
11 and under. It's horrible, and I still have them on my phone. But there was no outlet. There was I got caught up in Tiger King. Thank God for that, because I could not do hair. And besides not having money for doing hair, it was like people like my clients that I had, and sure, I lost a lot of clients. And I don't know how it's going to come back, even for salons, but I know, being a hairdresser, it's, besides it being your work, it's also your art though, too. So it's been tough.
What do you guys hope to have happen between now and the end of January? Because January is always the busiest month now for award seasons and things like that. There aren't any award shows. There is no CES show.
Oh, wait, there is an award show. Oh, yes, there is. It is a Broadway World for 2020, where the Afterglow 80s musical experience is nominated for 7 nominations of the decade. So yes, there is an award show.
All right, so what's the date on that?
Well, you have to tell December 31st, 2020. Yeah, it'd be 2020. Whew, got to get out of this year to vote. So you can still vote. You can vote and just move the Afterglow going forward. And like Dan says, he said this in an article, we are like the little engine that could. We had a low budget. We just had a lot of love there. We had original ladies. We had Mary Kennedy, Sheena Metal, Justin Root. The cast, whatever we did not have, we made up for it with all of us. And we had a really good time doing it.
Chris Carver, who directed.
Want to say what they are, Mary? What are the nominations for?
Oh, okay. So Chris Carver for Best Director of the Decade, Dan Magnus, Best Choreographer of the Decade, Roxy Astor, Best Costume Designer of the Decade, Mary Kennedy, Sheena Metal, Best Performers of the Decade, Best Ensemble, everybody we talked about, and Best Production of a Musical of the Decade.
Yeah, we're in third.
Third. I know. And so if you go to broadwayworld.com, you'll see a link for the voting, and it ends December 31st at 11:59.
Oh, good.
So Chris, New Year's Eve.
When's their show then? Is it in January, you said?
I think they have an award show then. Yeah.
Oh, they do?
I think so. January, February. But you got to understand, Broadway World, it encompasses Broadway and all the regional. So we were considered regional theater in Los Angeles. So we're on the same level. I mean, let's just give ourselves a big thumbs up for the Pantages. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So no, that is important. People don't understand that. It is about streaming now. I mean, for movie reviews and more, we're beating networks. And I'm thinking, I'm not surprised. I tried to tell you 2 years ago I was going to get that.
Yeah.
But not only do we have one show that's at 1,065,000, the other one's at 1,049,000.
That's amazing.
I was going to catch the first one. I thought, and I didn't know this, and I'm asking anybody, do you know anybody who's got a show that's never been broadcast on TV that's got 1 million views? Not one, but 2. And they go, no. I'm like, neither do I. Are we the only ones in the world? And then I go, we get more hits outside of YouTube than we do on YouTube, and we have 2 million views on YouTube. It doesn't make sense. So I'm in the same ballpark as you guys. So my hat goes off to you guys because I understand what that is. It doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter anymore because the world has changed. Things
right. But big props to you, Brian, because I've been from the start. When you started, major props to you.
Well, see, and so Mary, I'm gonna do a show sometime in January where you guys can come into a Hollywood studio that's private, that nobody knows about, and it's better than when you went to LA Talk Radio, Tracy. It's better than that.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be fun. And it's only 5 people on my show, so that's good.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
safe, and
you
I
know,
take the temperature, and I have all of our masks and all of that stuff, but it's an open ring that we have, open lobby, and it's just beautiful. People love it.
Did you say ring?
Well, I was thinking of wrestling for a minute there.
Thank
It's kind
you,
of
Brian.
open lobby space. It's really open air. We like it like that.
Yeah.
So we
Watch
got
out.
about 2 minutes. Roxy, give your social media links.
Media. Okay, I still have friends that I can accept on Facebook, Roxy Astor, and then Roxy Astor on Twitter, and then Roxy.Astor on Instagram. And I know I won't give you my phone number. Okay, that's it.
Mary.
You can get me on all the socials. Look at me, I'm so millennial. At mkennedycomedy.com, at mkennedycomedy.com. And also you can, if you just Google the Biz Studio or Youth Acting Biz, those are my teaching companies.
And that's important. Real quick. So how can future students reach out and try to sign up for your classes? How would that go?
Just go on our website, get all the information. My contact information is there. We have drop-in Zoom classes, you know, a ton of times during the week. It's a drop-in rate, so it's very economical. And then I also coach actors and comics, and we have a stand-up writers room in there as well. And I get to announce here, 2 of my students, they're twins, actually just booked a network show. So,
Yay.
woo, so yeah, it's all good.
All right, so Roxy, what's your last words? What's your words of inspiration to people out there who've been having a hard year? Because not everybody's had a good year.
Well, you know me personally. You know I've had a really, really tough year. But doing interviews like with you and doing other things, it keeps your mind going, because I think for about 5 months, I did not want to get on Facebook. I did not want to put a like on anything. I wanted to stay away. I had to get out of my mind, my mindset. I just had to like know that there's an end to this, and there's a bigger world out there, and this will be over, and I just got to get through. But you know, every time I would do that, bam, something else would happen. And in fact, even this last 2 months, it's been really tough. But what did I do? I reached out to you after we got nominated. So it was like, there's another push. It's like things keep coming our way, and it's pushing me like, okay, let's get some interviews. So, you know, hey, I pull the covers over my head sometimes. I don't want to talk to people. And, so, you know, we're human. And I'm not Roxy Astor, where I'm very wealthy and live in Park Avenue. Sorry, fans, K-Babe. You know, I'm a regular person, you know, and yes, I love to eat. So, and I have a boyfriend who's a personal trainer, but it's tough during these times. I'm looking at my see, I don't even know what it is. I forgot the name. Treadmill, going, okay, let's get these clothes off it now, you know, but it just takes little steps, interviews, interacting with people, and just keep going on.
Mary, what would you say?
I agree with Roxy. I mean, my kids keep me accountable, and they keep me laughing. You know, it's so amazing. My daughter gives me inspiration because she's thriving during this time. She's got a good group of friends. She's engaged. I mean, I look to her and I also say, listen, it's temporary. I was here for the writer's strike, you guys, and it wasn't a global pandemic, but you know, people were leaving town left and right because there's no work. You know, I lived through September 11th when comedy clubs closed for 5 months, you know, like, which doesn't, you know, all that. We will get through. I have to have faith. I have to have faith in something higher. And, you know, it's good. The Zoom actually has been a gift. I mean, I know we're zoomed out, but it's been a gift because I get to see your faces. I don't get to hug you, but I get to know that there's breathing people out in the world that are having trouble like me, and that makes it better.
Right.
And with that, I want to thank both of you guys. This is Brian
Thank you.
from Movie Reviews and More. And I have to say this, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours, because the world needs it. And we'll see you next week.